Hi everybody, this is Mike Brennan here at the National Hurricane Center. It's around 10:15 a.m. Eastern Time on Tuesday, November 5th. Coming on with the latest this morning on a strengthening tropical storm Rafael. Center passing just to the west of the western tip of Jamaica this morning. We've had the Hurricane Hunter aircraft out there, and they found that the maximum sustained winds are now around 60 miles per hour. Storm continuing to become better organized on satellite imagery with the center just here, where you can see an overshooting top or some very intense thunderstorm activity. Heavy rainfall, tropical storm force winds occurring across portions of Jamaica now, and the center of Rafael is currently located about 200 miles to the east-southeast of the island of Grand Cayman and the Cayman Islands, moving off to the northwest at 13 miles per hour. And we are expecting Rafael to steadily to rapidly intensify over the next day or two and become a hurricane later this evening and continue strengthening up until it makes landfall in Cuba tomorrow. If we look quickly at the radar imagery coming out of the Grand Caymans, you can see the broad center here to the southwest of Jamaica. Not a well-defined eye yet on radar imagery, but we are seeing indications again from the aircraft data that the storm is continuing to organize and will be able to take advantage of those favorable conditions to go on and become a hurricane by this evening. The track forecast has not really changed much over the last day or so. We're expecting this northwestward motion to continue. That's going to bring the center of Rafael as a hurricane over portions of the Cayman Islands later tonight, and then near and over the Isle of Youth and across western Cuba during the day Wednesday into Wednesday evening. So right now we have a tropical storm warning in effect for Jamaica, hurricane warning for the Cayman Islands, much of western Cuba, the Isle of Youth, tropical storm warnings in effect for portions of central Cuba with tropical storm watches to the east. We've now also issued a tropical storm warning for the middle and lower Florida Keys, including the Dry Tortugas, because even as the center of Hurricane Rafael is expected to pass well west of the Keys as we go from Wednesday night into early Thursday, the tropical storm force wind field will affect some of those islands, bringing those tropical storm conditions beginning during the day tomorrow. Now, longer range, the forecast is much more uncertain in terms of both the track, the intensity, and structure of Rafael as it moves into the northern Gulf of Mexico. There's still several scenarios that could play out, but we are expecting a weaker system, expecting the system to weaken to a tropical storm over the northern Gulf. The environment is not going to be as favorable there. There's going to be stronger upper-level winds, dry air, cooler waters. So it's too soon to determine if there might be any direct impacts along the northern Gulf Coast as we get into the weekend or even beyond the 5-day forecast into next week. But residents in these areas should certainly continue to pay attention to the forecast, and we'll be refining that as we go through the next several days. Rainfall across the Caribbean is one of the biggest hazards in tropical storms and hurricanes. Again, heavy rainfall affecting Jamaica right now. We're expecting 3 to 6 inches. Isolated totals as much as 10 inches across Jamaica, and that heavy rainfall is going to spread across the Cayman Islands and into portions of western Cuba. Again, widespread totals of 3 to 6. Isolated amounts could be as high as 10 inches in those areas. And again, as we move into the Florida Keys, we're expecting 1 to 3 inches of rainfall across middle and lower portions of the Keys as we go later into the week. In terms of the arrival time of those tropical storm force winds, they're going to reach the Cayman Islands later today and this evening, reach Cuba during the overnight and early morning hours, including the Isle of Youth, and then during the day tomorrow, into the Florida Keys tomorrow as well. And looking longer range, if we move up into the northern Gulf Coast, if we were to experience tropical storm conditions here, they'd most likely arrive in sort of the Friday to Saturday time frame, but still quite uncertain at this point. So to wrap things up with, again, the key messages for a strengthening tropical storm Rafael, we're expecting it to be a hurricane when it passes near or over the Cayman Islands by tonight, damaging hurricane force winds, a dangerous storm surge of 1 to 3 feet above ground level, not above ground level, above normal tide levels expected there, heavy rainfall, destructive waves. Rafael is expected to be an intensifying hurricane when it reaches western Cuba and the Isle of Youth on Wednesday, expecting a more significant storm surge there of 6 to 9 feet above normal tide levels, dangerous battering waves, life-threatening hurricane force winds in that hurricane warning area, with that storm surge expected to be the highest near and to the right of where the center crosses the coast of southern Cuba. Tropical storm conditions expected in Jamaica through this afternoon, along with heavy rainfall. Tropical storm conditions expected in the lower and middle Florida Keys beginning Wednesday and Wednesday night. Again, it's too soon to determine what, if any, impacts there might be along the northern Gulf Coast, so stay tuned for more information on that as we go through the week. And then going back to the heavy rainfall threat, Rafael's is expected to bring very heavy rainfall to portions of the Western Caribbean through early Thursday, including Jamaica, the Cayman Islands, and portions of southern and western Cuba, with flash flooding and mudslides possible in those higher terrain areas. So we'll be back with more here on Rafael throughout the day and throughout the rest of the week. And you can always come back here to the National Hurricane Center website at Hurricanes.gov for the latest. For those of you in the Caribbean, you can get more information from your local government officials and your local meteorological service. And in the United States, you can get more information on your local weather and hazards from your local National Weather Service office at weather.gov. Thanks for joining us. We'll be back with more on Rafael throughout the day. I'm Mike Brennan at the National Hurricane Center.